In KTN News at this hour. Now, the National Land Commission Chairperson Dr. Mohammed Swazuri has been arrested. He is currently being held at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. 6 other officers are also being held in connection with the Standard Gauge Railways compensation exercise. They include Kenya Railways boss Atanas Maina, and the Director of Public Prosecution Nordin Haji has already consented the prosecution. The officers at the EACC, Halake Wako, spoke a while ago. Have a listen in.
The EACC has been conducting investigations into the allegations that the Kenya Railways Corporation and the National Lands Commission paid compensation to persons and entities affected by the Standard Gauge Railway, popularly known as the SGR, for land which lay on the railway reserve in Embakasi. This is where the land itself belonged to the Kenya Railways and actually referred to as a railway yard, even on the map. And the two entities decided to buy off from the Kenya Railways itself to give to the same Kenya Railways for the purposes of erecting the SGR station here at Embakasi. And pursuant to Section 35 of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, the EACC submitted a report to the Director of Public Prosecutions on the results of the investigations, and upon review of the same report and the recommendations therein, the Director of Public Prosecutions concurred with the EACC recommendations that there is sufficient evidence to charge the suspects with several offenses of corruption and economic crimes. And consequently, the DPP issued consent for the following persons to be arrested and charged in court. And these ones are Professor Mohammed Abdallah Swazuri, Mr. Tom Aziz Chavangi. Professor Swazuri is the chair of the National Lands Commission. Mr. Tom Aziz Chavangi, the CEO of the NLC. Mr. Atanas Kariuki Maina, who is the managing director of the Kenya Railways Corporation. Dr. Salome Munubi, who is the head of valuation at the National Lands Commission. Mr. Francis Karimi Mugo, Ms. Gladys Muikali Muyanga, Ms. Caroline Kitui, Mr. Obadia Mbugwa Wainaina, Mr. Victor Waome Kariuki, Mr. Elijah Mwenda Nyamu, Mr. John Mwangi Moniki, Mr. Peter Nganga Mburu, Mr. David Barno Some, Ms. Esther Chebet Some, and 3 entities or private companies, one Keibukwo Investments Limited, and 2 Dasahe Investments Limited, and the third one Olomotit Estates. The Commission has since effected the arrests of 8 out of the 14 individuals listed herein, and we call upon the remaining persons to present themselves to the EACC headquarters here at the Integrity Center forthwith. The suspects, therefore, the ones that we have and the ones who will be reporting here or to be arrested later in the day, will be arraigned in court on Monday, the 13th August, to face the various corruption and economic crimes charges. So far, the people we have in our custody include Professor Swazuri, Mr. Chavangi, Mr. Maina, Dr. Munubi, Mr. Mugo, Ms. Gladys Muyanga, and Ms. Kitui, as well as Mr. Obadia Mbugwa Wainaina. So the first 8 on our list are already here.
Our senior political affairs reporter Duncan Hemba has been camping at the EACC. He now joins us. Duncan, it's good to be speaking to you again. What further details perhaps can you share with us? A quick recap as well of what has been happening since 5 a.m. today.
Nothing more to share, Zinzi, as you've seen the CEO Halake Wako has given us that comprehensive briefing, short as it were, but when we try to ask him, it was more so when they are arraigned on Monday. But of interest is the fact that the DPP Nurdin Haji arrived here shortly after 11. And then when we tried to get hold of him to know why exactly here, it wasn't easy, but we managed to get hold of him as he was driving out, and we had to be tricked that the CEO has to give a brief this particular side of the Integrity Center, the revolving doors. So as the CEO was readying himself to give us that brief, the DPP left. But we asked the CEO why exactly the DPP was here. He said it was part of the routine meetings that they conduct it was part of routine meetings that had been scheduled, only that it coincided with the dramatic arrest of the 8. Remember that the other, all the 17 are expected to be arraigned as starting 9 in the morning, Zinzi.
All right, thank you so much, Hemba, senior political reporter Duncan Hemba, who has been at the EACC for a better part of today. Of course,